Hi, I'm Jim Fielding, and welcome to Jim Fielding and Friends, a podcast where we explore what it truly means to live and lead with authenticity, kindness, and impact. Each episode brings together leaders who inspire me, people who lead with heart, break barriers, and redefine success. If you're looking for honest, insightful, and thought-provoking conversations, pull up a chair. Let's talk.
We can choose who we love. Nobody's letting go. Chosen family.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Fielding, and welcome to this episode of Jim Fielding and Friends. I am so excited about this episode because someone I've known, I figured this out last night, 42 years, because I was 18.
I can't believe it's been 42
No, I know, and I just
Jim.
turned 60, so it's 42 years.
Wow.
Mr. Paul Caine is here. Welcome.
Thank you, Jim. This is such an honor. I'm so excited. This has been on my calendar and such a treat for a long time.
When
Thank
you said yes, I mean, I knew when I was doing this, I was like, I have to have Paul. And I was like, okay, if he can't do it, what am I going to do? Like, I'm going to have to move my weeks. What am I going to do? But so I'm going to tell the story of how we know each other.
Sure.
And then I'm going to let you share your story. So we met 42 years ago.
Yeah.
You were living in Wright Quadrangle. I was living in Teeter at
That's
Indiana University. We met through your roommate, Brian.
That's right.
And
Brian
you were
Brian
Housen, amazing. You were 1 year older. He is 1 year older. And we met because you were putting together a group to colonize a fraternity, which I think is so crazy when I think back to it. What you did, I mean, the vision you had for that and the group you put together. And I knew when we were doing that, I always knew Paul was going to do something important in the world. I didn't know that about you. And I was like,
very nice.
and I wanted to be friends with you because you were fun, but you were also smart and focused. And I remember when I was interviewing, you probably did the same thing, but like forming a fraternity at Indiana University was not an easy thing.
No.
Especially for a bunch of 18 and 19-year-olds with this established hierarchy and rules and an administration that wasn't that thrilled about a new fraternity. Like, I think about that and how that actually prepared us for the business world. It's so weird that we did it. But why? Do you remember why we did it? I don't really remember. Like, tell me that. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's, you know, there's a lot that goes into it.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to that, what it started is when I went out to how I got to Indiana in the first place is a crazy story.
That is crazy.
Okay,
yes.
so let's fast past that, and then here we are at Indiana. And one of the things of me being out there was truly my ambition of going to Indiana in the first place was to really change my life, because everything I was up until that day was something different. My parents had very specific guidelines for me. They had ambitions for what they wanted me to be. Specifically, I was intended to be a dentist, which is shocking. And my entire childhood was geared towards me becoming a dentist, all the way through high school. Even though I was an entrepreneur, I had businesses. I started a business when I was 10 years old that I had till I was 15. I was musical. I played instruments. I loved television. I loved sports. I loved everything that was not dentistry, but I was good at math and science. I was very good at school, but that wasn't. So anyway, there I was. Once I did get into dental school as a 6-year plan out of high school. Went there for a year, hated it, and realized, you know what, I got to change my life. And this is where the fraternity starts to come in. So I said, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to dental school anymore. My parents, and this is in June, by the way, my parents were like, you got to go somewhere. And I said, well, where? I have no idea where to go. And they said, you have to go in September. But I didn't have enough money for college because college was paid for if I went to dental school. It wasn't if I wasn't. So I had about $21,000. So trying to figure out saved up from businesses and things like that. Where am I going to go? I was watching HBO. Breaking Away came on. And I said, well, wait a minute. That's an amazing place. Where's that? It was Indiana. Loved college basketball.
Yes.
business school, music school. I was like, I'm going. Never been there in my life. Never been there. So I said, I'm going to go. Applied, got in, packed up my car and went and got into Right Quad in a lounge. Okay. And that whole process on the drive out to Indiana, and I don't think I've ever told anyone this story. Okay.
Yeah.
On the drive out to Indiana, I was with my dad and I was doing a mental gymnastics over the 16 hours of like everything I was up until that point. I need to be something different, not different in a fake sense, different in the most purest true sense. This is why you, Jim, is such a hero to me, because you live your truth and you've gone through that sense of discovery.
Right.
This is my discovery.
Yeah.
So I vowed when I stood foot on that campus that I was going to be my purest, truest self I could possibly be.
Oh my gosh.
So, but my parents had one other rule, which is I couldn't join a fraternity. And because they knew that I would get obsessed with it or go down bad. They were always worried that I was going to be.
They knew.
They were like, you have an addictive personality, so they knew that if you were
going to do it, you were going to do it. Yeah.
So and they would thought I was going to get into a bad situation, as you can imagine.
Yeah,
so
they didn't have great reputations. Right?
No.
Right.
So, but I didn't listen to them, and I tried to join a fraternity, and I started. I did that, and went through some of the hazing issues. And what I realized is I was not for me. And we were actually off campus one night at a friend of ours' house, which we don't even to get into, and we were sitting around drinking and joking, as you did about that point, about like, why would we put up with this? What if, wouldn't a fraternity be great if it was just us? Yeah. And like a bunch of people, some of those guys were pledges at Sigma Nu, Beta, which one of them, and a few others. And we sat around and said, well, what if we did that? And then we laughed and went home. Okay. Next morning I woke up and I was like, you know what? What if we did that? Yeah. And I was like, if I'm going to live my truest self, why would we say what if and not do it? Totally. So I believed we could do it. So a guy down the hall was a transfer from Penn, if you remember, and he was in a fraternity called Phi Kappa Sigma.
Oh my God, that's right.
And we
that was what we tried.
So I called those nationals and said, hey, would you colonize us? They flew out 2 days later.
Okay, but let's just stop there for a minute, because this is what I want people to understand. Like, you've changed your whole life, you've pivoted. And the fact that you even knew, like, I'm going to call nationals, like most college sophomores at the time would not have known that. And I totally remember when they flew out.
It was insane. And they came out, they colonized us. Fast forward there, the university wouldn't recognize us.
Remember.
But we had almost 100 people.
I remember.
Okay. And they wouldn't recognize us because the IFC, which is the aggregation of all the schools, said no. Right. We went to different fraternities. I think you went with me to a few of them. And tried to convince people.
ZBT. I mean, wait.
Yeah, we did.
Were like,
we went to Sammy's, ZBTs, right?
Yeah.
They all said no. I ended up calling Herman Wells.
Yes.
And who was the chancellor of the school, asked him, and he said, go to the Lilly Library. There are fraternities on campus. Go get the list of them, and not all of them have houses. And so we went through it, and there was one called Teak that actually had about a dozen people on campus just hanging. Yep. I called them and I said, if you make us your chapter, give us your chapter and build us a house. Yes, I'll move our 100 people over to you. I know. And that was the deal I struck. That's how we started.
Okay, but this is what cracks me up about knowing your career. You were basically like private equity venture capitaling. You were pitching. I remember. And we were going. Totally. It was M&A. And we were going with you. But the funny thing was, because I was on so many of those meetings, and I was a freshman. I was a kid. I wasn't even 19 when we started. But when I think about it, you had a vision. Like, we knew we wanted to be a different fraternity. We were so clear about that we did not like, and many of us had gone through Rush or pledged.
You were going to be a Sigma Chi.
And I de-pledged. And had not liked it and were like, the Greek system isn't for us. But from that early point, we had such a vision of what we wanted to be and the impact we were going to make. Like, we had more adult conversations, I guess, than I even realized, because really we were pitching, we were like a little business unit that we were pitching and seeing, could we merge with those existing 12 guys who were super nice, I remember them. And then oddly, Teaks International was in Indianapolis, which was like 45 minutes away.
Right.
Which was bizarre as well. But I mean, but it did prepare us. I mean, that's the thing that I realized with hindsight, that was a big project.
So I think the way I think about my life, which my career is part of my life.
Yeah.
I think they're so intertwined, is that's kind of what makes you is how you think about how you think about those moments, and also the lessons you take from it. You know, for example, when we moved from Phi Kappa Sigma to Teak, I distinctly remember that meeting, and in that my charge there was, we as an executive team agreed that we were going to move to Teak, but we didn't tell anybody. We didn't tell anybody, and then we cut that deal without telling the team. And then we went to the chapter meeting and tried to convince all these people in a chapter meeting that we were no longer Phi Kappa Sigma, that we were all wearing pins with. And we put them in the middle of the table because now we were becoming Teak. And we created this dramatic moment where the Teak nationals would walk into the room. And
you staged it.
And the whole thing. And what happened, though, was we had a rebellion, because a lot of the brothers were saying, well, wait a minute, we want to be this. And what I didn't realize at the time was that business isn't just about about those deals. There's a person behind every decision. And I think about that all the time. It's one of the actually mantras I say all the time, is there's a person behind every decision. Whether you're hiring, firing, promoting, merging, selling, whatever it is, there's a person on the other side of that decision. So if that's the case, there's an empathy that you have to have that I learned really literally that day. I remember looking at our friend Tom DiTullio, who was crying.
Not happy. Now, I remember.
Knowing Tom, the fact that he was crying is crazy. But he was crying because he was so passionate about it. He just couldn't mentally grasp it. The subsequent meeting from there was so good, because we stopped it and we started talking as people, became empathetic about each other's issues. And in the end, everyone did come over, but they needed to be heard.
They did, and they needed their moment. Well, it's why we've been friends all these years, but it's also why I knew I had to have you as a guest on this podcast, because the words that you're just throwing out lightly, authenticity, empathy, active listening, everybody being heard, treating each other as humans, it is a unique leadership style. I mean, it's not taught in business schools. It's not always respected, but you've always led like this. And that's why I wanted to start with this story, because you were leading like this when you were 19. And I think your story about dental school and Indiana, I think part of the reason we bonded is Indiana was an escape for me too. Like, Indiana was, I knew I was struggling back then with my sexuality and what I was going to be when I grew up. And I chose Indiana because it was far enough away from my parents that they couldn't visit randomly. Right. I mean, I really liked University of Michigan.
That should be on the brochure, by the way.
I was like, I really liked University of Michigan, but it was only 45 minutes from home. And I thought, knowing my parents, they'll pop in, and I need to go. I need to go far enough away where I can do some exploration. And I think that's really what college is about, overseas study for me, all that kind of stuff. But I had friends and environments, even though I went all through college really hiding my secret as much as I could, I was exploring and I was learning. And I think that's so much of what that experience was about. And I loved being in the fraternity. People are always surprised about that. I think, when now they know my life and they're like, you were in a fraternity? I'm like, I loved it. And I'm still friends with many people from that period. And probably one of the biggest things I was nervous about is when I did start sharing my truth was I going to lose friends? And you were solid through the whole thing, which says so much about you as a person. But I think people underestimate that foundation that you get in college, like that, those lifelong friendships. I talk a lot in the book about chosen family, and but the true learnings, like it prepared me for my life more than I realized, right? Like when you're in it, you're basically going to class and trying to get good grades, and you're partying, and we did IU Sing, we did all that stuff we were doing, and you're just kind of in it. But as you get older and look back, you're like, that did prepare me. I mean, it truly did prepare me.
Sure did. I mean, similarly, I'll throw it right back to you, is from the day I knew you, I knew you were going to be a success the way you are too. Funny. And I also knew you were going to be an incredible friend.
Yeah.
You had a sense of connecting with people that really put people at ease in a way that that was amazing. And the other part is your sense of creativity was extraordinary, which really spoke to your career, because you brought yourself into your journey, and the more you did that, the more successful you became.
Once
and this book is a perfect example of that.
So, I mean, once I embraced myself, I mean, that's really the story. Once I fully accepted myself, then I was able to like tap into those superpowers. But okay, so let's talk about your career, like what you're doing now. I mean, it's been a fascinating journey. I know it, but tell me your highlights, what you think.
So, well, first of all, thank you. My career has been quite the journey. I have to say, like, once I graduated school, I didn't necessarily find the perfect path because I went into advertising initially.
Yes.
But I did go into advertising sales, which led me to what I think became my perfect path, which was a career in sports and entertainment. My first major epiphany on that one was in '98. I had the privilege of launching a magazine called Teen People, which was super exciting and an unprecedented launch. I then became the publisher of People and Entertainment Weekly, the president of what was the Style and Entertainment Group of Time Inc., and then ultimately the EVP overseeing the whole publishing unit of the company. That was an extraordinary path that took 24 years.
Yeah.
Left there to become the CEO of Westwood One, which was really fun for a very short period of time. but it gave me the alternative view of what was a long corporate career into a smaller company, but in a different genre, radio. But also, we ended up selling it very quickly, which took me through an M&A process that I never experienced before at Time Inc. Left there, and then really I started to create a dual path. Okay.
Yes.
The dual path was, after selling Western One, I was exploring different opportunities. Not sure what I wanted to do, but was deeply connected to somebody who I'm deeply connected to today, Mark Shapiro. Mark Shapiro. Who many people may hopefully you do know him, but if you don't know him, he was one of the brilliant leaders on the early days of ESPN, and actually built, in a lot of ways, the creative platform of ESPN. Went off to be the CEO of Six Flags, the CEO of Dick Clark, and then he and I met when he was the CEO of Dick Clark because he helped produce the People. He produced, they didn't help it. He produced the People's Award show for us when I was the publisher and president of People magazine. So after I sold Western One, he and Ari Emanuel, who I also knew, who helped me in my early days as publisher of People, they wanted to buy IMG. So they asked me to come and help them with that, as be part of that team. Parallel path that I had other opportunities in multiple different companies, but another one was Bloomberg. And I chose the Bloomberg path because Mike was extraordinary. He's coming back from being mayor. He, at that time, and I still think to this day, 100% of the corporate profits went to philanthropy, which aligned with my values.
Very much.
And I felt like at that time in my life, I had the privilege of choice. So I wanted to choose to work for somebody with that, that could change the world in that way. And I did it. What I also learned within 2 years is finance as a pure play was not me. I'm more of a sports and entertainment person, but I really loved Mike. And then traveling all over the world wasn't for me, but it really wasn't for my wife. And Pam, who I've known since I was 15.
Yes.
She really wanted me to not do that any longer. So I stopped working in 2016.
Yeah.
Sorry. A few years after that, I really wanted to get back into something. I didn't know what, but I wanted to be in sports and entertainment. And Pam said to me, well, what do you want to do? And I said, you know what? I know what I want to do, but I only want to do it with one person. And she said, who? And I said, Mark Shapiro.
Right.
She said, what do you mean? And I said, listen, if I don't work for him, I'm not working for another company.
Right.
Period.
Right.
And she said, well, call him. So I did. And then he said he was looking at On Location to buy, which is an experience company.
Yeah.
And I said, sure, I would do anything, literally anything you asked. So so that's how I got into Endeavor. So they bought On Location. I became the president of On Location, and that was 5 years ago. And
I believe it's been 5 years.
Yeah.
I was thinking of that today.
Over 5 years.
Yeah.
And what On Location is an experience company in the sports, primarily sports, but also entertainment, but primarily sports space, where what we do is we work with all the major rights holders around the world to create, with their best inventory, experiences and hospitality that make your experience at an event even more extraordinary.
Right.
So whether it's the Super Bowl, you're not just in a seat, you're also on the field for the trophy ceremony. You're in the field before the teams come out. You're meeting the Hall of Fame class. You're going to special events. You go to the Olympics, the World Cup, the Ryder Cup, all the tennis Grand Slams. We do 700 plus events a year now. The company has grown so much, and most recently was moved over and acquired by TKO, which is an extraordinarily exciting company, also run by Mark Shapiro. And so I've had that incredible privilege. So that's what I'm doing now. Yeah. But my journey has been a journey of passion. I love sports and entertainment, being the privilege of working at People and a magazine and all those other entities, Sports Illustrated, Time, all those was so good. But what I'm doing today literally is my favorite job I've ever had.
I didn't even have to ask that question because I knew. I think it's your favorite job. It's also you being your most authentic self. There's no doubt.
It is.
It's
but here's the other thing I learned too, and it's all go back to our fraternity story. It's just about the people.
Yeah.
I do have a number of people that I worked with at the Time Inc. days, my original team. My business partner for over 25 years now, David Geithner. He and I are still together. He's the CFO. There's people that you bring along the journey, but who you work with is really, really important. The purpose is important too. Like I say all the time, working for Mark is the main reason why I'm here. But the people I work with and the colleagues I have On Location is the reason why I love this job. Every one of them. For sure. And then it gives me also the space to live my true self in my personal life. Pam, who I've been married to for almost 36 years. I have my children, Samantha, Ryan, and Gavin, who are all professional now in their 20s and 30s and doing great. But we also had, which I know you know, but we lost one of our children, Griffin, and my part of that true self was finding purpose for his loss, and we've done that, and largely because of Pam leading what we have as our foundation called Griffin Cares, which is actually huge now with a very strong, quite large, serving hundreds and hundreds of people a year and many hospitals, and does great work for families that have lost a child, providing support and community for people who have lost a infant or stillbirth or late-term miscarriage. And my career has not only given me great benefits, but it's also given me the opportunity to support the growth of that community. So I think it's all intertwined, but it all comes down to the people.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for sharing that story. I mean, I know how hard this part of the conversation is. But again, I think the thing that's interesting for our listeners, our viewers, is you always were impact philanthropic before, I mean, from the day I met you. And even back to what we were doing in Indiana. There
We
was
used to raise a
I
lot
was
of
going to
money
say we
for-
raised a lot
we
of
did.
money for St. Jude. We were St. Jude was our was
That's
Teek's charity of choice, and but I think what you and Pam, what
We
your
raised a lot of
family-
money when we had no money.
Right, we were all poor and we were raising money, and oh my God,
was
it's
crazy.
so funny. We were living, my God. I mean, I was working 2 jobs all through college, trying to like keep it all together. But out of the pain, I mean, out of the loss, you have created this incredible foundation. Is she doing that full time? Like, is
So,
it a
yeah.
staff now? Like, that's what I was curious about.
It's Pam's doing it full time.
Okay.
But we have a board of 16 people that are not. Our board is not a board of advisors. Our board is a board of doers.
Yeah,
Every
like
single
working
board
board,
member has a role and responsibility within the
that's
organization. So that becomes our infrastructure, and then we have tons and tons of volunteers
Nice.
that ladder it out even further. The community has grown so much. It's almost overwhelming. But Pam, and one of the things we love is that we don't have any paid staff members, at least not
Yes.
now, because that way almost all of the money that comes into the foundation goes to the community, which is unheard of in the world of philanthropy. But that comes because this is Pam's full-time job now.
Right.
And she, and when I say full time, it is
Oh,
full
yeah.
time. And she is extraordinary.
No, it's amazing. Okay, so you mentioned the kids. I was thinking about them too.
Yeah.
They're all out, right? Everybody's graduated.
They're all out and graduated.
They're all. You've created 3 amazing little adults. They're not little, sorry guys. But where are they? I know where Sam is because I follow her on LinkedIn.
So she's in what's called revenue growth management at Hasbro.
Yes.
She's done great in her career, and
didn't go to Indiana, but that's okay.
She didn't go to Indiana.
I know.
She went to
remember.
WashU, but
She went to WashU. I remember.
and
but
she got her master's at Harvard, and she's
remember
gone off.
it well.
She's gone off and done great. Ryan, he's a chemical engineer by trade, and he works for a software company in research development now, where he works with other people who
that's your
did what
science
he
math
did.
brain right there.
Right. They're actually the split of 3 parts
'cause
of
the
me,
last
right?
one's the musician,
Right. So Samantha's the marketer.
Yes.
Ryan's got the math science, and then Gavin is a full-time musician.
I know.
But I would tell you, even though I say like, oh, they're 3 parts of me, they're actually all of Pam, because Pam is so smart, so creative. She's also a singer and a musician. So I look at her more of them than me.
It's
But
fascinating though, no, because I mean, you're marketer, your science brain, and your musician. It is funny that they're all well-rounded though. That's what I like about them. But they do.
I just had my birthday, and people are like, how are they all different? And it's like, no, they're different, but they're all so close because there's similarities to them all. And when we just celebrated my birthday, it's like when they all gave me the gifts, usually they give me books. And looking at the types of books they gave me, I was like, oh, I love these kids so much. They totally get me, and they also are such great people.
No, my God. And they're continuing your legacy and their commitment to impact. And they're
all on the board.
I was gonna say they're so. I mean, it's such a family thing. Well, what are you most excited about it On Location right now? Like what? I know you're public and
it's okay. Well, we're really excited about what we're building. I mean, the events that we do are phenomenal, but more importantly, what you get to do at our events is really what's the most extraordinary part. So, if you're ever interested, go On Location.
Oh my God! Every email I look at, yes.
It's all on there online. But what we offer is, for example, we just had WrestleMania this past weekend, or 2 weeks ago, I should say. And at WrestleMania, there was 122,000 people that went to WrestleMania. It's extraordinary the amount of people that went there. We had 6,000 guests at On Location, and our guests did everything from got to meet some of the WrestleMania stars like Cody Rhodes or John Cena. They got to walk the catwalk. They got to sit ringside. They got merchandising. They got really extraordinary things, and got to experience WrestleMania like nobody else could on the absolute inside. That's really stands very much for what On Location is all about. So one of the visions we had that I give Mark a lot of credit for of On Location was we've lived extraordinary lives. We get to do extraordinary things. Because of my media role, I got access to everything, and I got to see it from the inside.
Yes.
And seeing it from the inside kind of ruins you a little bit, but it is extraordinary. Then what On Location does is it gives you that same ability without having to be an industry insider. So you have the ability to buy it. So I'm excited about what we just did at the WrestleMania or the NFL draft, but I'm really excited about what we're planning for next year for 26 right now. We have 700 plus events a year, but there are 3 big ones that I love. One is the Winter Olympics. That's in Milan. And if you come with us, you get access and experiences like you couldn't even imagine at having a special spots on the downhill that has great food, great views, also Lindsey Vonn with you and things like that. Just get to watch that together in a very, private area. Special egress, special transportation, all sorts of things at the Milan Olympics that you wouldn't get anywhere else. The second one is the Super Bowl. It'll be in San Francisco next year. The Super Bowl is our crown jewel. Yeah. We do it every year. And this Super Bowl is going to be an extraordinary one. And where we're going to have, again, people being able to be there with the trophy, be there with the players, be there to experience the Super Bowl as if you worked for the NFL. And then we have the World Cup next summer. So that's 105 matches in 16 cities all across North America. Yeah. And if you've never been to a global football game or soccer, as we say here in the U.S., you should go to the World Cup.
No. Well, and one of Atlanta has some.
Atlanta has some.
And you'll be proud of me because I'm season ticket holders to United.
Oh, wow.
I've gotten into it. Yeah,
I'm so glad.
And it's funny because it's in Mercedes-Benz that you know so well. And I've gone to Falcons games there and United games there.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're in the same stadium, you don't even realize because the experience is so different. And I think that you work on experiences and that insider and making it feel like you're part of the story. I love, but I can totally, but World Cup logistically is going to be crazy.
It's huge. It's the largest thing we've ever taken on.
It's everywhere.
I mean, we thought the Olympics was hard.
But at least that's one place.
It's one place.
Yeah.
It's actually the World Cup. The complexity of the World Cup is more about the travel logistics, which is why you need a company like us. Yeah. Because 16 cities, if you're going to follow your team, you want to come with a company like us who's on the inside. We work on behalf of the rights holder. There's no other company that does anything like we do because we're exclusive with the rights holder. So if you're going to get a World Cup ticket, you get it from anyone else but us. Yeah. Then you're not getting it from the rights holder. You're actually getting it from a third party, which doesn't guarantee you rights of admission and doesn't really have access. So with the World Cup, if you want to follow a team, you want to come with us. If you want to just go to one game, one match, and see it in a way that makes it worth the investment, come with us. Yeah. We say it all the time. Look, there's air travel. You can go from point A to point B. There's value travel all the time. It does not. You can always find the cheapest way, but it isn't always the best way.
Yeah, for sure.
And if once you fly on an airline that knows how to take care of their customers, gets you easy egress, treats you really well, gets you to arrive beautifully, calmly,
you're
and
rested.
Safely.
Exactly.
That's what On Location is.
Oh my God. Yeah. I know. I haven't done. You're so good about offering all the time and sending teasers. I need to do an On Location. I'm saying it.
Let me know.
Air.
And then
I'm saying it on air. I'm committing. I know the Super Bowl in San Francisco is intriguing to me. Olympics is intriguing.
We would love to have you.
You have to stay working at least till 2028 because I'm intrigued about LA. By the way,
LA 28 Olympics, which is what we're planning for right now, is going to be probably our largest event we ever pulled.
Sure.
And one of the more exciting ones. The venues that LA 28 selected is extraordinary.
Extraordinary.
LA is a complex market. It's not just in the, when people say LA, they think simple city. It's pretty expansive. And getting around and having the right.
And the traffic.
And then once you're on site, as you know, with any LA event, you really want to experience it in the most lovely way.
I mean, our paths cross so often because I did Intuit Dome for the last 3 years. So, and Intuit Dome is one of the sites. And working with Steve Ballmer and his leadership team on Intuit Dome, I mean, have you met him? You need to meet him.
Yeah. Not only he's amazing, that dome is extraordinary.
Unbelievable. But it's so funny because the first time I met him, when I was pitching, right? I mean, of course you're intimidated, but within like 5 minutes, I was at ease. And it's very similar to you. That's why I know you guys must get along, because he is so first off, he's a sports fan, right?
Yes,
like he
very much.
he is the uber sports fan, not only a sports fan, basketball fan, and a Clippers fan. Like, it is so authentic. And the process of, we originally hired just to do ideation, and the ideation went so well, he basically said, okay, well, now you need to execute it. And I was not set up to execute. Like, I sat there and nodded my head, but I had to scramble and put together like an execution team, which thank God I could do. But his vision, very similar to yours, of like, I'm going to create the best sports facility in the world, not just the United States, in the world. It's going to be the most fan friendly, and it's going to be the most inhospitable to visiting teams. Like, his vision was so clear, and just the word frictionless, right? He kept frictionless, and, being a tech guy, and pushed us to do things in retail that no one had done before, and pushed me and our team. I mean, like, I'm so proud of that work we did, but I thought about you because, double the number of bathrooms, and the seats are the most comfortable, and all of the things and they're bigger.
The speed of getting out of everything.
Everything.
The stores, the food,
totally.
Everything.
No, like you.
And those screens. Holy moly.
The halo. I know. It's, I love that project. And it has basketball, I think, right?
Sure.
Yeah. I knew it had something. And then SoFi's right next door. So, which, LA has. And I love that they're using the Coliseum and everything else. I mean, it's fun.
They've planned the Olympics out super, super, super well. Paris was an extraordinary game, but it was a complicated game because it was the first one post-COVID.
Yeah.
And it was the first one that really was at a huge destination market, because it's been a long time since London, where it was a market that people genuinely like to go to on a regular basis. LA is going to completely eclipse Paris. Completely.
Yeah,
First of all, the team that's running LA 28 is fantastic. And not only is Casey Wasserman great, but John Slusher, who's over there from Nike, is extraordinary, and their team's there. It's just so good. And the vision they have for it is clear. They want it to be the best games ever, and they're putting everything against it.
Well, and I think what's great about them, because I was still living there, like in the whole bid process, and they wanted 24.
Yeah.
So they were set up for 24, and then when they didn't get 24, which was right because of the anniversary and Paris and everything else, the fact those extra 4 years are going to be amazing, I think, for the fans and for the participants and. The people from around the world, because they've had 4 more years to plan it.
It was the best thing that ever happened. Plus, the world had an extra 4 years because I don't think the world was ready for an Olympic post-COVID 3 years into. Because think about it, 24 was less than 3 years post-COVID, 2 years post-COVID, and people had a lot of concerns. Obviously all unfounded, and it all worked out really well. And the second week, the amount of crowds that came to Paris in the second week after they saw the success of the first week says all of a sudden it was back. LA is going to be from day one going to be extraordinary.
It's going to be crazy. Yeah, no,
So I'm excited about it. We've got, soon.
Stay for me.
All right. So, soon those, we're going to start taking deposits on LA 28. in
It's weird. I mean, sitting here in 25, it's 3 years away because I feel like we've been talking about it forever, but it's honestly not that far away in the way the world works.
Nothing is that far away.
No, I know. It's so weird. It's so weird.
And that's the thing, and that's where, you know, even our friendship, it doesn't mean, like when you said 42 years, it kind of blew my mind.
I know, because
it feels like it's also so much
like,
less.
It's so weird because we both just had birthdays. I just turned 60, and I mean, those milestone birthdays are big, right? I always say the ones with 0s and 5s are the ones that kind of count because, and I you know, I think of what my dad was at 60 versus what I am at 60, and that's like night and day. And
for sure.
But I also, I mean, we were talking about physical before we started, some of the physical things going on, but mentally, like I don't know what 60 is supposed to feel like, but I don't feel like what my dad felt like at 60. I know. No. But I also keep saying, well, I'm not really aging until we start talking about your kids all being like fully formed adults. I know,
31.
Fully formed
Holy
adults
moly.
and like graduate of Harvard and what she's doing. I'm like, okay, now we really are older. And I'm also at that age where I'm getting invited to everybody's weddings and baptisms and, you know, all that stuff. And you're like, but it's not your friends' weddings, it's their kids' weddings. And that's when you really are like, okay, maybe we have to admit we've known each other 42 years.
Exactly.
I'm like, okay, all right, I admit it. And it's okay. I like it because what I like is, you know, and even my parents used to say with age comes wisdom. I do like that part. I do feel different and how I look at the world and how I approach the world now than when I was 50 and definitely when I was 40. I mean, it's 100%. So different. It's like, stuff is just different.
So much of my earlier career and life of my earlier marriage was, first of all, you know, so much stress of having small children, losing a child, going through all of that.
And your children are close in age too. You have like all, So.
That was hard. That was a life. And then also, you know, trying to build a career, worried always. There's a sense of it. Now I'm 61. There's a sense of comfort in it. I actually I don't feel that anxiety anymore. What I feel more anxiety about is not enough time. And I do think about that all the time. When I turn 60, I start thinking through like, okay, how, you know, if I had to amortize whatever time I have left, even if it was 40 more years, how does that time get spent? Because I started thinking about as time as currency. As opposed to currency as the ambition.
Oh, for sure.
And, you know, it's funny because a lot of people are driven by money. I'm actually more driven by time.
Well, I love that, Paul, because this conversations are great. You know, I'm working on a couple new books, but the working title or the working thesis more of one of the books is 30 More Summers. And it's because I knew as I was, you know, getting in my late 50s and turning 60, you know, that the male history in my family is not good. I lost my dad at 72, one grandfather at 69, one grandfather at 71. And so, you know, when you go to the doctor and you have to fill out those health histories, like the female side, you know, it was like 101 and 96, but the male history isn't good. And how I'm thinking about the commodity of time is how and where I choose to spend my summers. You know, I think summer, to me, it's like that summer of childhood, which was no responsibilities and you're just kind of playing and you're getting tan and you're just with your friends. And that really has become my thing of like, even though I'm working differently and I'm working for myself now, I'm still working. And I never see myself not working. I love what I'm doing, but I'm super conscious. That's how I'm measuring time now, is in those summers and like, who do I want to spend those summers with and how do I want to spend them and where do I want to spend them? You know, that's my measurement now.
So I love that because I had a boss years ago who's CEO of Time Inc. who used to look at a room, and he was a math genius. He'd look at a room and then calculate based on who's in the room and how much time we had for the meeting, how much that meeting cost him. And he would start every meeting by saying, this meeting costs us how are we going to make it worth it? And I was like, huh. So when you think about your time as an investment, that's such an important thing. But at work, every moment you wake up in the morning, that moment is a moment of starting of work. Now, work could be pleasure, work could be physical, work could be emotional, work could be purposeful. You can apply, it's how you apply your time. That's your work, right? And we define work on compensation.
Yeah.
But work is not necessarily defined on compensation. Pam is the perfect example. She works full time on a philanthropy that she gets zero compensation for. Right. Yeah. But here, so that's not it. It's how you spend your time. So the fact that you're defining those 30 summers, I absolutely love that, because it's a pure definition of like, hey, I'm defining purpose around this time period, so that you make it valuable as opposed to just take it for granted.
It's like my Oprah wish board that I'm going to make it to 90. That's I'm like, okay.
To 90?
That's my thing.
I think 90 is the victory. My dad's turning 92.
Which is unbelievable.
Which I can't believe.
I
can't believe it. I'm thankful
huge,
for.
Yeah.
But when he turned 90, he was very introspective about it. And I said, Dad, 90 is crossing the finish line. Period. You cross 90, you high five, you put the medal around your neck, you're good to go. 100%. Because any day after that is a gift. 90 would be a gift.
Oh, for sure. Like I think it's a stretch goal, as I would say.
I agree with you on that.
All right. Well, our time is almost up, but I want to give you the opportunity to give our listeners like one piece of Paul Caine wisdom, because I know you've given so much during this, but one last thought.
Well, make sure that you find great people in your life, like you, Jim, who help you stay grounded, help you stay focused, help you stay as a person, and keep your values straight. For me, that's been Pam.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine life without her. And I also am thankful for life with her. And having people in your life that are those people for you, whether you're married to them or friends with them.
Yeah.
And I had someone say to me, like, most people have room in their life for like 4 amazing friends. Right. I'm like, I feel like I have so many more because I think that's such an important piece. So that's my best advice to anyone, young or old, is find those people.
That's a gift. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for 42 years.
Thank you.
Thank you for 30 more summers.
I can't wait to celebrate 30 more summers.
It's going to be 72 years.
Actually, if based on your math, I have 29 with you.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
But you have 30.
We'll do like a podcast. We'll do like a podcast in 28 years.
I have one less summer with you than you have.
No. Well, yeah, we'll figure that out. All right. Thank you so much for being
Appreciate
here.
you very much, Jim.
Thanks. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you enjoyed this show, make sure you leave a review, subscribe, and follow us on your favorite podcast platform. We appreciate you and look forward to seeing you soon.